know your customer, and avoid getting involved in VAT fraud. Do you recognize a good business deal? Why don't you take a moment to think about whether the proposed deal is too good after all? If the goods still come from the same origin as before, the prices are competitive, and the contracts and invoices are the same as before, but everything else in the business relationship begins to change, you should be on your guard. For example, it may be a bad sign if the seller's address or bank account number has changed more than once for no obvious reasons. Any industry and business sector may become the target of fraudsters who offer deals that are just too good to be true. Be aware of the special characteristics of your industry. If the seller seems to have a large business, he should probably be registered for paying VAT. You can check this on the Business Information System website. If the seller says they don't have to pay VAT, go ahead and ask why. For example, if you are buying a car and the seller claims that the sale falls in the VAT margin scheme, you must check that this is true. Another time for you to be on your guard would be, for example, if you notice that a company that's offering to sell you computer hardware in large quantities has a sales representative who does not seem to know anything about computers or business practices. Or the company's wares would be delivered to you by a third party with no obvious connection to the seller. These are red flags that should cause you to be awake. Let's go over the main points once more. Sellers are expected to pay VAT on to the tax administration. Those who buy something from the seller have the right to deduct the VAT included in the purchase price they have paid. The buyers normally do the value-added tax deduction when they fill out their VAT return forms every month. However, if you buy something from a seller who neglects to pay their VAT onto the tax administration, it also means that if you haven't been alert and vigilant enough, you may lose the deductible VAT you paid to the seller. So, go ahead and make a good business deal by making sure you run the basic checks we've explained here. When you do that, you make sure that you can keep your legal right to deduct the VAT. You also avoid any time-consuming and frustrating fraud investigations. Instead, you can focus on your own business operations. When you make all the necessary checks, you can keep fraudsters away from your industry. This way, you can prevent unfair competition in your business environment. Here is a list of 11 red flags that you can use to assess your business partner's reliability. If more than one or two of these sound familiar, you should consider cancelling your business dealings with this partner. This way, you may avoid getting involved in VAT fraud. 1. You receive unsolicited offers that seem too good to be true. 2. The seller is a new, recently established, or recently registered company with no financial or commercial history. 3. The seller wants to sell you quantities that are too large compared to the seller's past business activity. 4. The seller or the person who contacts you does not know the product or the market. 5. The same people continue to contact you and the same people stay in charge of the seller company for a long time. However, the name, address, or bank account of the company keep changing. 6. Or alternatively, it may be that the company stays the same, but the person who contacts you or the people in charge change, and the price drops significantly at the same time. 7. The seller insists that you should make payment in cash, even though the invoiced amount is high. 8. You are asked to pay to a third party or into a foreign bank account, even though the seller is Finnish and the transaction takes place in Finland. 9. You are asked to split your payment between several bank accounts. 10. Payment arrangements seem strange or suspicious. 11. The company is not in the VAT register in spite of its extensive business activities. After all, you safeguard your own financial position by checking your product quality, delivery reliability, and solvency. In the same way, you should assess your business partner's integrity in tax matters. To strike a good business deal, you must be alert, make the necessary checks, and get to know the people you do business with. By doing so, you also help the Finnish government. Our society can continue to pay for public welfare services, for schools, for hospitals and parks and roads. So go ahead and make a good deal.